Potentially the richest club in the world. Matthew Reisbeck is at St James's Park for us this morning. You cannot overstate how big a moment this is, can you, for Newcastle fans?
No, this is hugely significant for Newcastle United, and last night thousands gathered at St James's Park to celebrate the end of the Mike Ashley era and also welcome the new people in charge. And this is a deal that was first agreed 18 months ago but broke down last summer, with the Premier League having concerns over who exactly would have control of the club. But they now say that they have legally binding assurances from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that they will not be making the decisions at the club, despite the country's sovereign wealth fund taking an 80% stake. The other 20% is split evenly between Amanda Staveley and the Reuben brothers. The sense that we get here is that any takeover of Newcastle United for many fans is more about Mike Ashley leaving than who comes in, even if the new people are seriously wealthy. And that's because Mike Ashley has been deeply unpopular over his 14 years in charge, with the club relegated twice and many other controversial moments, such as him renaming the stadium after his sports shop. And the fans at Newcastle, like at any club, have no say at all over who owns and who runs their club. But it is true that some have concerns over the Saudi Arabian aspect of this deal because of the country's record on human rights. But a Supporters Trust poll recently showed that a majority of fans wanted the takeover to happen, and they will now look forward to what they hope will be a brighter future on the field for their club.
And the new owners of Newcastle United, with assets of, what, 250 billion? I mean, it is staggering, yeah, this contrast, yeah. In terms of football, though, I remember sitting here when the takeovers were completed at Manchester City and Chelsea, and it wasn't long, a few years, before they were winning big prizes, big trophies, which is why
Newcastle
fans they're so excited, aren't they? So anticipating the future that lies ahead. So this consortium led by Saudi Arabia has completed its takeover of Newcastle United, potentially making them the club with the richest owners in the world. Fans gathered outside St James's Park last night as the deal was approved by the Premier League. Most of the funds will come from the Public Investment Fund. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, is their chairman, and they have assets of £250 billion.
It's just sort of a bit of a relief. It's like a kid on Christmas morn. I'd all my birthdays and all my Christmases, I'll come to the same time. Chuffed.
We've got a half-decent team. Admittedly, Steve Bruce isn't the man to take us forward, but I think now we've got someone with a bit of ambition. We can kick on and, become the club that we should be.
We've grew up with a Newcastle that isn't used to competing, so when I hear stories from my dad from the past of the late 90s being so close to winning the league, it's that slight chance that we could be back to that.
And who do you want? Who do you want them to buy?
A striker of some sort, I'm not bothered. As long as he's good, that's the main thing.
Well, the takeover does mark the end of a long wait for those fans. It had initially been agreed in April 2020, but was then blocked by the Premier League over concerns about the links to the Saudi state. However, this time, in a statement, the league said there was a legally binding assurance that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia wouldn't control Newcastle United Football Club.
I'm obviously aware of those the comments that have been made over the course of today, and that's something we take, very seriously and keenly. However, we are, very much, our partner is not the Saudi state. Our partner is PIF, and we look forward to working with them. One great thing is it's taken me 4 years to get there. I've got to work with a really great team who I've got to know very keenly and very closely. And I trust in their judgment about what is great for Newcastle.
Well, human rights organisations, including Amnesty International, have criticised the deal, saying it amounts to what they call sports washing, given Saudi Arabia's record on human rights. Western intelligence agencies believe the Crown Prince ordered the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018, which he denies.
It's one of the worst places in the world to be a woman. It's one of the worst places in the world to be an LGBT person. And the death penalty is routinely employed. Ever since this deal was first floated, we've said it would represent the Saudi authorities' kind of a high watermark for them to attempt to launder their image in this way via the glamour of top-flight English football. We've urged the Premier League to change their owners and directors' tests to address human rights issues.
Well, despite the controversy, the takeover ends Mike Ashley's 14-year spell as Newcastle United owner. Many fans had criticised his lack of spending in the transfer market and his long refusal to sell the club for a lower asking price. They are currently second bottom in the Premier League, but they can't actually sign any players until January now.
To be criticised, but he took on an almost an impossible job at Newcastle in very, very difficult circumstances.
I've seen fans of other clubs saying that this whole issue is ruining football in a way because it's all about who your owners are and how much money they've got.
Has that ever changed? I mean, when you look what happened to my club Blackburn back in the mid '90s, we had to spend, we had to invest to challenge the best. Man United have been doing that for years. Chelsea have now been doing that for years. We've seen what's happened to Manchester City. Arsenal are spending millions and millions of pounds now. Liverpool have done that. So every club that wants to be successful, or most clubs that want to be successful, spend an awful amount of money.
Well, Alan, thanks very much indeed for your thoughts and your time.